So what kind of things do we cover in the new AccessArt primary art curriculum? The majority of the time is probably spent on disciplines which we would call the fine arts. So by the fine arts, we mean things like painting, sculpture, drawing, printmaking, and using digital media to take photographs and make animations, things like that. But we've also made sure that we include things like craft and as well as that design. So within design, we look at furniture design and set design, fashion design and architecture. So within the full AccessArt primary art curriculum, obviously we've got time then to include all these different disciplines. Within the split curriculum, which we've created for the schools that work with DT half a term and art half a term, obviously you're going to cover less ground, but we've formatted it so that you can be sure that you are at least covering some painting and printmaking and some making throughout the whole curriculum. Alongside that, as well as drawing being seen as a discipline in its own right, we also see it as something that underpins everything else. So whether you're working with a printmaking module or a painting module or a design module, there will always be an element of drawing within that. It might be doing some practicing drawing from observational skills, or it might be using drawing as a way of thinking or sharing ideas, but it's always there to underpin everything. And then around that, we've got the sketchbooks. And again, sketchbooks are used throughout the pathways. So they're a kind of focus, a centre point, and they're really important to us because we think sketchbooks help make the learning the child's own. That's their place. And we use them a lot when the children are looking at other artists' work. The sketchbooks are their centre. They're the place where they can make notes and understand the other artists' work. As well as testing ideas and collecting and trying things out. And then alongside that, of course, we're encouraging you to look at lots of different kinds of artists. So whereas in the past, the national curriculum, well, in fact, the national curriculum still does refer to great artists, which does feel a little bit old-fashioned now. So we are still looking at what would be called the great artists, but we're trying to look at them in a new way. And where possible, we're trying to juxtapose the great artists with more contemporary artists and diverse artists. And for us, this is really, really important because if we want to talk about engagement with the children and go back to that original idea of making art relevant for everybody and it being a subjective experience, then we need to make sure that the artists we present to children are relevant and children can identify with those artists. The different disciplines will always in art or should always weave in and out of each other. So it's never a case of doing a printmaking module and forgetting everything else that you've been doing before. Instead, while you're doing that printmaking module, you'll find that lots of core skills that you've been building, maybe in drawing or composition or looking at different elements or colour, they'll be there in the printmaking, and then you'll do a painting module and those same core skills pop up again. And this is the way it should be. That's what makes teaching art so exciting. And it does really help with a child's understanding, building their understanding and discovering how these different elements change depending on the context.